2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and stop. Okay, next to the side. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and stop. Okay, hands up, reach down. 1, 2, 3. To your right, to your left, center, inhale, exhale. Hands up, reach down. 1, 2, 3. To your right, to your left, center, inhale, exhale. Hands up, reach down. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Center, inhale, exhale. Hands in your waist, circular movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Center, reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Center, cross, knees, circular movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Center. Hands on your waist. Turning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Center. Tilt to the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Center. Rotating. 1, 2, 3. Reverse. 1, 2, 3. Center, hands up. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, spread your feet. Turn your shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, and stop. Okay, stretch a little. Switch. 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 Switch, straighten the front knee. Switch. 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 Center. Okay, shake it out. Hands up, deep breathing, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay, hands in waist, shoulder roll. Reverse. And sana. Okay, press, release, exhale, inhale. And stop. Deep breathing, hands up, pull in, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay, wrists or circular movements. And reverse. And sana. Palms down, bigger circle. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and stop. Okay, shake it out. Okay, go from side to side. and Sana. Okay, lift. And Sana. Okay, now we're going to swing the arms. And Sana. Okay, switch. And Sana. Okay, side to side. And Sana. Okay, other side. And Sana. Okay, shake it out. Hands up, deep breathing. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Okay, silk grilling. Hands here, step out. Switch. And Sana. Okay, open and close. And switch. Okay, Sana. Circular movements, preparation. Okay, lower hoop. Shoulder height. Elbows down. Lower. Palms down. Extend. Deep breathing, inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay, diagonal flying. Switch. Okay, Sana. Cloud hands. And Sana. Palms down. Lift up, carry tiger to the mountain. Infinity sign. And form the fist. Okay, palms together. Strum the lute. Okay, thumbs up. Alternate the shoulders. Switch. And center. Okay, draw the bow. Okay, fan to the back. Okay, raise the hand. Okay, deep breathing. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay, we'll go through the sequence and then we'll see what to work on. Ready? Feet parallel. Preparation. Oops. Fist on the elbow. Sorry. Okay, so, Tai Chi Paradigm is a sequence, and because a lot of people learning are using this platform, it's not always easy to follow because of the mirror image and then the following from behind, so it's kind of confusing. So, one of the things is, what's one of the benefits to Tai Chi is that there's sequential memory, there's posturing, there's integration of body, there's shifting of weight, and it's control and trying to find your center of mass. So what do we have? We have directions. We have forward, we have backwards, we have right, we have left, and we have central equilibrium, which is the balance point. And all of these techniques are kind of controlled by the concept of yin and yang, sort of that complementary and support of the two sides doing equal or opposites, depending on what the movement is. So for someone learning in the beginning, it might be a lot to identify the postures, but we go to, say, one of the things that we do in the adaptive Tai Chi. Adaptive Tai Chi is kind of a method that I've developed for sitting. Like if you're in a wheelchair or you're in a a situation where you can't stand for very long, or your legs are not conditioned for doing this, mapped out. So we can just go through the geometry of positions with our feet 90 degrees, and we find the center line, and we go to the triangle position. Then we go to the circle, we go to the square, and then bringing the hands down toward the waist, and then lifting up to the front of the shoulder and pushing out, and then flattening the hands, and then bringing them back down, and then turning them palms up and thrusting toward the center line creates all the movement you have in grasp the sparrow's tail, but yet it's not really called grasp the sparrow's tail. It's the geometry of position, just to define the different hand moves. Now this is panning out from here to 45 degrees, which is in line with the toes. Then you turn your elbows out. So now you're in the single whip position. So if you look in the mirror, your arms are not straight, but they're 45, 45, 45. So those are positions, and when we go into these positions, what we're trying to develop is muscle memory. Because the more consistently you can create these angular positions, it's more your body can identify with. Because accuracy of movement comes from sort of that type of precise motion. So defining it in zeros, 90s, and 45 degrees is, the best way to do that. And the reason for that is because we can realize and understand what those angles are, because, we're familiar with them. Circles, squares, and triangles, we're familiar with those. So we can take that geometry and then apply it to our skeletal structure. Then we start to build muscle memory, and then as we combine these combinations of hand positions, we start to create postures. Right? So in the hoop position, we have a lower hoop, we have an upper hoop, and we have the shoulder height hoop. So those are reference points. So in fact, everything that we're doing is referencing our body, center line, shoulder width, shoulder height, eyebrow level or eye level, the width of the temple, which is really the width of your head, waist level, torso, vertical. So you say, well, vertical, how's that apply to geometry of position? Well, you're standing in an erect position, you're 90 degrees to the floor. Okay. If I look forward, there's 90 degrees when I'm in the shoulder width position. That's to the front. When I'm in the side position, I'm 90 degrees. When I'm in this side, there's 90 degrees. If I drop my hands to there, there's 45. If I bring my hands up there, there's 45. If I bring my hands across here and then level it. So you can see all we're doing is finding those angular positions three-dimensionally, right? So we have 45 there. So dimensionally, it's X, Y, Z axis. You have all these kind of angular positions, If your center was here and you're standing in the middle of a ball, then you would be standing in a sphere. So that becomes three-dimensional and it has volume. But a circle's round, and if you kind of rotate it this way or this way or that way or this way, you can see that reversing the ball is that concept. So when you go from vertical to horizontal and vertical to horizontal, you're really turning the circle, like steering, like you're turning a steering wheel. Or if I had the steering wheel like this, and I had a handle on it, and I went like this, I would be turning the circle in a horizontal direction, right? If I take it on this side, I take it to the horizontal position. If I had a circle that's circled like this, and I had a handle here, and I went like this, you would create circles like this. So it's as simple as that. Because it's not tangible when we're just doing this. But what we try to do is integrate the body to develop relationships between the joints in our body. The wrists and the feet, the ankles, right? And the wrists, the elbows and the knees, shoulders and the hips. Because those joints are similar. So they're also compatible. They work together in this integrated fashion. So that's where the integration of body comes in when we start to do this up and down motion. Because when we talk about central equilibrium and balance, the most stable position is when your center of mass is low. So the geometry of position for the best center of mass being low, it would be the triangle, right? Because it's bottom heavy. If you turn a triangle like that, they have a building in Boston, it's called the Upside Down Building, it's like that. That building requires a lot more engineering than a building that's going to be like that. You have one of these in Paris, like more pyramids. You build pyramids and they never tip over. I wonder why, it's because their center of mass is big on the bottom. It's more toward the lower half of, the structure. So when we do Tai Chi, we create a base, then you relax the upper body. So because we don't stand around like this, we want to create a center of mass that's lower by relaxing the upper body. Now, if it's just brick and mortar, you have to create, or even if it's wood, you have to make it into a shape that has a bigger base and a smaller top for it to be stable. But the human body can learn to relax the top, and then your bottom gets heavier. So when you stand up and when you're standing on one leg, you want to relax the upper body. And when you relax the upper body, it allows you to stack yourself to become more stable. Now, when you're standing on one leg, you only have one vertical line typically, and you want to be straight because you're not in the triangle position now, you're in the vertical line. So it's like balancing a pole. A pole is only strong in the vertical position, and it has to be 90 degrees to the base. So that's what we try to do when we stand and go into positions, is manipulate our skeletal structure to create these structural alignments. So that's what I mean by aligning your body, creating these postures. And all of that's tied to understanding and proprioception and your sensory system. So your sensory system has to be very conscious of what you're trying to do so that the brain can tell the body what it needs to do to get the results. And the results are good balance, vertical spine, and so forth. All those things are actually developed in your form. Now, the things that we just did can be done as a drill where we're like this, square the feet, bring the hands to here, sink the elbow, round the hands, square, slant down, push forward, slant down, thrust up and open, turn, 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 triangle, circle, back, forward, back, thrust, open, turn, turn. Triangles, circles, straight, back, forward, back, thrust, open, and turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. Forward, back, forward, back, forward, open. 1, 2, 3. And you can do it again in the front if you want. So it's, or push, sorry, here, and then open, 45 degrees. These are all your geometry of positions, tying it to the leg, so now you have a forward and backward relationship. So, doing a drill like that, you actually will do the same thing. You're programming movements, you're defining your geometry of position, you're moving your legs, and you're actually building a forward-backward relationship with the hands. Because when we're here in Grass the Sparrow's Tail, we're doing this. But these are just done in pairs. Because when we learn movements in pairs, it's so much easier because the brain wants to do it on both sides at the same time. It gets confusing when you're doing one like this and one like this and one like this. So that takes a bit more coordination. But it's not just coordination. You have to teach each side what it needs to do. Each side has its own task. So building integration of body means multitasking in the body, because each section of your body is doing its own thing. So that's really how we kind of function normally, is to do several things simultaneously, because the brain is active. But you only can go through that kind of a process if you know, right? If you don't know, then nothing happens, right? So this is a fairly simple drill that I use that I teach some of the outside programs. But at the same time, it's something we discuss. But if you put it in a format, then you can actually practice it. And then when you're not as confused when we go, well, this hand is up and that hand is up, this hand is out. So while we're in space and we're moving into all these different postures, it's hard to recall and memorize all of it the first time around. And then when we talk about the stance, we have the stance, we have the leaning position, but when do you start to pull it together to make the hands work as part of it? So we have these movements as a double push, leopard tiger, springs to mountain. We have the thrusting positions, we have the pushing positions, we have the slanting back position. So all of those are there. Sometimes it's one side, sometimes it's this side. And you can see if you just take those basic things and make combinations with them, you'll have postures. And then you'll have the forward and backward. Now what we haven't actually done in any of these movements is turn the torso. We haven't turned the torso mainly because right and left, when they're done together, really there isn't a right and left turning. Only when you do one side will you have the turning. When you have one side, you have the turning. Because the relationship in the upper and lower body is tied to the right and left sides as a relationship. It doesn't happen in the turning unless you separate it. So the forward and back is more of what you're doing in a pair. So in order for you to include the waist, then you'd have to elongate one side, and there's where the turning comes into play. You see? So what happens to the body is eventually the body starts to create the motion. So if you want dimension, volume in your movements, you have to integrate the body. So if you don't integrate the body, it's going to be two-dimensional, it's flat. So that's kind of the concept in a nutshell, and you just have to play around and work with that. But what is that? That's building tremendous brain plasticity, because it's the physical side of learning. When you move your body, you build this integration, because you start to network your body to create these actions. And there's a tremendous benefit to that. And we're not doing it on a very physical level. It's an intrinsic level of connections that we really need, as part of preventing age-related degeneration, and also, to get good circulation. And the main reason why we have good circulation, or want good circulation, is because our circulatory system needs to circulate the fluids in the body. It's the only way we can get nutrients and oxygen to our cells. So we need to move. So I say movement is essential to life. And actually movement is essential to functionality and to be sort of purposeful in whatever you're trying to do. So when that starts to degenerate, then you become, less capable of doing a lot of things. So let's go through, no, that's the long form. Well, let's go to the long form. That's the theory. Okay, we can go to the long form now. So that's enough talk, right? Okay, ready? So these are the obliques. This is one of the differences between this and the Tai Chi Paradigm form, or the short form. It's these corners. Brush knee, right and left side. Left push. Step up, planting punch. Turn, parry and punch. And then we're going to do the beat the tiger. Same hand movements as the first kick. Turn to the left corner, fold your elbows, bring the leg behind and cross stance. Open the stance, beat the tiger, stroke down. That's your setup for the left side movement. Looks like Jade Lady Work Shadow. Then we turn to the front, lower hoop, right heel kick, and 2 punches to the ear. Left hand on top, flip it over, reversing the ball, step up, parting leg, cross over, in front, spin, 360 degrees, fold the elbows, lift the knee, open it up, that's your parting leg right, stroke down, parry and punch, that's your back fist, form the fist and punch, divert, block and punch. Cross the arms, leopard and tiger springs to mountain. Okay, bring the hands down, carry tiger to the mountain again. Cross the wrists, oblique, brush knee push. This is your second set of obliques. Right side, grasp the sparrow's tail. Back to center. Hold and reverse the ball. Takes us to diagonal flying on the right side. Then we turn, sit back, and we're going to do 5 part the horse's mane. So here's the second one. Then we step up for 1 on the left side. So part the horse mane is done. 2, 2, 2 and 2 on the right side and 1 on the left. Makes up 5. And then we're going to cross corner after we do the part the horse's mane. So we have 4 corners here. I'm going to go to the left side first. Then we're going to spin, pivot, cross step, and we do the right side. Then we finish this with part the horse's mane. And we cross over. We do the back side, Jade Lady Work Shuttle, left side first. So these are just a repeat. 1 on the back side and a set on the front side. So it's footwork, it's walking to the corner. And we have here, grasp the sparrow's tail, because we need to fill this to get back to the hook wrist and turn to the front for single whip. Then we have our second set of cloud hands. And next we have downward posture. Sticks out tongue, pull down. Then we step up to the cross hand position. We did this the other day to golden cockroach stands on one leg, step down and poke. Let me step over to the mirror here. Thrust here, go to vertical, and repulse the monkey begins again. So this is a big repeat. If you get to this point, you're going to repeat the movements we did, and it's going to take you from movements that are in the 60s all the way to somewhere in the 90s as far as the number of movements that you're repeating. It's fun. And then we have some finishing movements. So the form is really just doing it twice. Open your stance, hold the ball again, and then we're going to step up and repeat. Then from the waist, stork flaps wings, and relax. And we turn one brush knee, one insert the needle. Again, this is your second one. Second fan to the back. And we turn second forward parry and punch. And this time we step up to form the fist. Punch, divert, block and punch. Step up again. Grasp the sparrow's tail. Hook your wrist. Single whip. Okay, now we're going to do a set of cloud hands. Hold the ball. This is the last set of cloud hands, bringing us to the last section of the form. And we turn, set up like the first kick, but we're going to do a palm strikes face. Then we're going to do a turn to do the single lotus kick. And brush knee left side. Then we go like a planting punch, but this time it's more angular and punching down to the crotch. Then you step up to grasp the sparrow's tail again. Takes you to single whip from the hook wrist. No more cloud hands. So next is the second downward posture. Pull down to cross hand position. Retreat, turn, separate the hands to ride the tiger, palm strikes face left, change your hands, turn. We have the double lotus kick. We have the draw bow to shoot tiger. So these would be different, these are new. And then we repeat again, palm strikes face, parry and punch. So we've done this movement already. That was before the lotus kick, if you did the lotus kick. And then we go to palm strikes face, high pat the horse just like in the kicks, and then we move to right side neutral to the final grasp the sparrow's tail. And we turn back to single whip, and we're going to do the same closing that we do in the Tai Chi Paradigm form, and we know this from that form, so we can close and end the form. All right, deep breathing. So a strategy to learn the form is to kind of break it up into sections. The set before the cloud hands, the set after the first set of cloud hands, and then what happens after the second set of cloud hands and the third cloud hands. are just pieces that you can work as smaller sections. Sometimes or especially new people, when they're learning just the beginning of the form, you think you have to memorize, or they try to memorize all of those movements at once, when really you have to really understand the transition and identify the postures. Because once you've identified the postures, you have something to work with. You can't, it's like phone numbers, they have a reason why they have 7 or maybe 8 numbers, and then they add an area code. Because more than that, it's going to be much harder to remember. So when we learn forms, you can't memorize every movement. You'd have hundreds and hundreds of movements that you'd have to try to recall, and it's impossible to do that. In fact, you have to be really good with the form in order to think it through. Like, doing it is one thing, because it's programmed into your body, because it becomes habitual. If you take it out of that context and just try to think it through as what happens next, you can kind of get through it, but you're missing a lot of transitions because the body isn't involved. So it's just part of it, So when you're doing something, you have a better time doing it when you actually are doing it. Like maybe working with a recipe, if you do it often enough, you kind of know what you're going to throw into it. But if you think through it, you say, well, what are the ingredients? So the form is exactly the same thing. You have certain fundamentals, which are part of the ingredients. Then you have to put it together in this recipe. And, it's just different names, that's all. A recipe is like a form, in a sense. You're putting something together and you get a result. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. So, any questions? I know last time we worked on the golden cockerel thing. So what we did was, remember we did this? Right? So it gets you in a position. Okay, no? Okay, so let's just do the leg. So you have to pull back. But it's not the same because you don't have the upper body tied to it. So when you come up, you're like this, right? So this is like this. Now, that's your last piece. So if we just did the right side first, and then we step down, that's here, then we can do that. So we go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So if you get those two, then the third one is just one more drawback. So, ready? 1, 2, 3. Now on 4, we're going to 4. So you have to go into suspended animation. It's out here. Yes, yes, like you're striking. Yeah, like this. See, striking. No. No, because when you actually, if it's here, and I turn away, then it opens up. What makes it go longer? This. Right? Your body really creates the action to create the look. And then your upper hand should be higher up, more maybe toward the forehead. Yeah, the other one, the right hand. The right hand, yeah. The right hand is like this. Yeah. You are turned, yeah. Okay, the reason for turning is because, remember, you want your spine to go over the heel of the supporting foot. Because if you leave your body untwisted, then your spine's going to be on the side of it, and you're going to be feeling like you're going to do that. Huh? Right? So that's really body positioning. See, the body is kind of stupid. That's the term. That's the only term that I could use, because that's what my teacher used to call it. Stupid hands or stupid. It's interpreted from in Chinese, but the thing is, but the body really, it doesn't have any intelligence. It's actually the brain that has the intelligence, well, at least it has information. While they do all this stuff on the brain and so forth, we don't really know what it's thinking. It's like a computer. Do you think a computer knows what it's doing? No, you have to feed it information. When you feed it enough, it starts to do stuff. Now that was the big thing, they create a human with, like a computer. Can you make it have emotions? But we don't really know if we have emotions. We just assume that we have emotions because we've been told that we have emotions. But what's that feeling? It's part of all of that. So then, do we have emotions? Okay. So that's what happens with movement. We try to bring in the emotion, a feeling, and expression. I mean, a lot of times when we talk about our training, we talk about our senses and we talk about emotion. Emotion is sadness, happiness, and all that's just tied together, and how it affects even your hormones and stuff. When you're down and out or you're up, those are part of feeling and expression. You can tell someone that's smiling and someone that's sad by, even in the cartoons they do that. It's just image, a look. When someone points at you, depending on how intense that pointing is, kind of creates the message. So all this stuff, like if you get stopped by a policeman or something and he comes to you, just the way he's walking at you, he's not happy. Then when he does this, okay. So let's try that again. So that's actually pretty good. You're going to just swing up, keep it loose. Now, if you try and you do this, it's hard to get, but if you're using a little bit of momentum and you pause, you straighten your leg, your body comes up. Your body comes up. Your body comes up. So that's just a sort of a little training tool for you to get your body in a position quickly and be stable and controlled. So that's why if you do this over a long period of time, even as you get older, you don't lose this ability simply because it's programmed in your system and you're familiar with it. It's when you don't do something very often that it becomes stressful. And what causes stressful situations? Not knowing, right? Like we just talked earlier, right? If you understood something, you wouldn't, whatever it's causing you to be fearful of it, then you would realize that if you think it through, then you can probably manage it better. It's kind of like that. But everybody gets nervous if you don't know. Like when I'm on Zoom and the thing goes crazy on me because something happened and I hit the wrong button, then you go into panic mode and, huh? Oh, it happens all the time. Yeah. Anyways, so that's the long form. Do we fill the time? Almost. So anyone that's watching, hopefully that's helpful. The golden clock, we'll go through that again just a couple of times so you can see. Okay, we'll do the kicks. Okay, we have a request for the kicks. 1, 2. Now remember, the hands just doing the reverse the ball. Now in palm strikes face, it's doing the same thing. Now if you add a dimension to the movement, then it changes the look a little bit, right? Because you added it like this. Then when you cross the hands and you take a step forward, this is this. Now we're going to do the first kick and then go down and do the second kick and toe out and kick. But this time we're not going to do the third kick. We're going to go back to the first kick. Okay. 1. But we're going to do the fourth movement, beat the tiger. So that's the same, but we lift up, open the hip, and cross behind. And we step out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's beat the tiger in 2 punches to the ear. So, in Tai Chi we have a lot of, it's called spiraling or twisting, right? Twisting. So the whole body twists. The forearms twist, your legs twist. So all the rotary stuff that we do, the torsion movements that are required to do in the body, I think that's one of the most important things, because I think people that really become dysfunctional is because that doesn't happen in the body any longer. We lose that ability. So Chubby Checker, when he said twist and shout, he was probably onto something. Although, he was a little chubby, so it didn't help, with obesity. But twisting is actually important. So kids twist. All the games that they play, they go down there and they're playing twisty, whatever that game is, when you kind of do that. Adults can't do that because they can't twist, because they're not nimble enough to do that. So twisting is important. It's something that we don't do enough of. But we do it in Tai Chi. We twist, we lift, we thrust, we twist, we're twisting, we're twisting, we're twisting, we're twisting, we're turning. It's all twisting. The body turns, you turn. So that's, your whole body twists. It doesn't, but if you think about your friends, how many of them are twistless? That's a new word. Twistless. They don't, right? Your friends do? Do they? Not? Yeah. Yeah, well, not, in general. Anyone that does this is actually doing it. But people that, sit around a lot and not very active, and when they get active, they really hurt, they hurt their body because they're not doing it. So, you say, well, how important is twisting? Well, you can't even look behind you if you don't twist if you're driving your car. When you hurt your neck, you go like, you're like that, and you got a mirror, and this is how, you know what that look is, right? That's when you have a bad neck and a bad back. So, but, we don't pay attention to it until something happens to your body. So we do a lot of this, up and down, turning the head, and, so it's all good for movement, but what really, you can imagine, if movement stimulates circulation, it's necessary for circulation. These areas that you're not twisting and moving are not getting circulation. So no wonder you have problems, with discomfort, soreness, or rigidity. It's because it's lacking. So when you have that soreness or tension or pain, sometimes it's your body screaming, telling you, I need oxygen. Or your leg falls asleep. That's something that happens a lot. When you keep your arm in a position and you cut off the circulation, you get buzzing and all, It's not painful, but if your leg falls asleep, you get up and start buzzing, and it's kind of like ticklish, right? So, anyways, on that note, I think I got a Parkinson's at 11:10. So that's it for today. We'll see you next time. Hopefully that was helpful.